Welcome to the book of Shmuel, chapter 3. This story is mind-boggling. It can be a book, a movie, what have you not, in and of itself, really, really packed with extraordinary drama. So you have the two kingdoms at this point. You have the kingdom of David living in Hebron with the tribe of Yehudah, and you have Ishboshet up north, and he's with, Avner ben Ner is his chief of staff, and he's the son of Shaul. So those are the two kingdoms split. David slowly establishes himself more and more in the tribe of Yehudah, and David is stronger and stronger. There's a war, there's a long war, and David keeps making gains, and Ishboshet of Shaul's household is shrinking and shrinking. David in Hebron has several children, each of whom is from a different woman. I'm going to quickly list the different wives and the son that is born to them. Number one, you have Amnon, the son of Achinoam Israelite. That's the Achinoam that he married. The second to Amnon, you have Kilav, born to Avigail, the wife of Naval. Remember that whole story where Naval died? So that's Kilav, the son of Avigail. Then you have the third, Avshalom. We're going to hear about him later. Lots and lots of trouble coming. And actually, it doesn't say that Avshalom's mom is Jewish. It says Avshalom is actually the son of Ma'acha, who's the daughter of Talmai, the king of Geshur. Not a Jewish mother, it sounds like. But that's that. Then the fourth, you have Adoniah ben Chagit. I don't know any details about who this Chagit is, but we're going to hear about him in the book of Melachim. And the fifth is Shfatia ben Avital. I don't know who Avital is. The sixth one from another wife is Eglah. Is Yitram, born to Eglah. And they are all born to David in the city of Hebron. Slowly but surely, David keeps getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Now, at the time, Shaul, who's no longer alive, had a Pilegesh, which is sort of a informal wife, that is living in the palace of Ishboshet. And sometimes you need to know when you're a king if you're actually the stronger one, or if someone in the court may be stronger than you, maybe one of the military people. And that's exactly the mistake, the dire mistake that Ishboshet is going to make. So there's this Pilegesh, Ritzpa bat Aya, and she is living in the palace of Ishboshet. Now, Ishboshet is the king, but he's kind of I hate to say this term, but he's a bit of a puppet king, meaning Avner, the head of the army, he's the strong guy, and he appoints Shaul's son Ishboshet as king, but by no means is Ishboshet the strong one. It's actually Avner who's the one holding this together. And what happens is Ishboshet is feeling that maybe Avner went off with Ritzpa Bataya, the Pilegesh. He suspects he's doing some funny business there, and so he tells him, "What are you doing hanging out with Ritzpa Bataya?" And Avner loses it, absolutely loses it. Literally, history has changed because of this insult. And Avner is like, "Excuse me? What did you say I did?" And Ishboshet is like, he's realizing he made a mistake. He's like, "Have you been hanging out with Ritzpa Betaya, the Pilegesh of Shaul?" And Avner is so insulted and disgusted by this even question, by the possibility, by this being brought up. And he's like, "Excuse me?" He uses very, very strong language. He says, "Harosh kelev anochi asher liuda." Am I the head of a dog that you talk to me like this? And he says, "You know what I'm going to do?" And if you say this to a king, by the way, it means the king's not a strong king. He says, "You know what I'm going to do? Now I'm going to transfer the whole kingdom to Yehudah because you spoke to me this way. I appointed you, and I'm holding your everything together, and you're telling me now these insulting questions. I'm going to make sure the whole entire kingdom goes to David." And Ishboshet is like, "Whoops, this was not a good idea." But it says that this all came from Hashem, so that the kingdom can be united, so that the kingdom of Israel and Yehudah can come together. And it says that Lo yachol lehashiv Avner od. Avner was not even able to respond because he was afraid of. Ishboshet, the son of Shaul, couldn't even respond because he was so intimidated and afraid. So he actually goes on, and with no shame, he sends spies, messengers to David, and he's like, "I am on your side now. Count me in." Wow, that's quite the move. He says, count me in. I'm with you. I'm going to turn all of Israel towards your direction. And David HaMelech says to him, you know what? I love it. I am so excited for you to join the team, as they say. But I have one request. If you're coming here, I want you to come with Michal, the daughter of Shaul, who I married when I was young. And then when things fell apart between me and Shaul, Shaul took her. So he says, "Give me, remember Michal, who I took for me myself as a wife. I had to kill 100 plishtim to prove myself at the time. Well, I want you to bring her." And indeed, David then sends not secret, then he sends public messengers to Ishboshet. He's like, "Give me Michal, your sister. We used to be married, and she was taken away from me, and that was not okay." And that's what he does. And in the meantime, the treason is continuing, and it's the season of treason. And Avner goes to all the elders of Israel and he whispers to them, he's like, guys, let's get with the program. David is the one who's winning. Let's go with him. Let's be with him. Let's have our alliance with him. And he's been very strong and great. And actually, people are like, yeah, that sounds very, very, very good. And Avner is like, yeah, let's do this. And so then Avner goes and does the unthinkable. He crosses teams. Avner comes to Hebron with 20 people. David makes a whole feast to him, and they make a whole covenant. And Avner is like, yeah, you should be king of all of Israel. And it sounds like it's a great peace agreement. Now, we're going to have David king of all of Israel. Avner just met him. Everything's fine and dandy. Kumbaya. Everyone's very happy. But you know who's not happy about this? Yoav. You know why? Because Yoav's brother, Asael, has been murdered by Avner. Now, I know you're going to say, well, yes, but Asael was trying to kill Avner. But nonetheless, Yoav did not take that excuse or answer, and he's still very, very angry at Avner. So Yoav comes, and as he's arriving, he's told, oh, you know who was just here? Avner, the head of Shaul's army. He wants to bring us all together. And Yoav comes to David HaMelech. By the way, I don't know if he actually meant this or he was using it as an excuse. And he's furious. He's like, are you kidding me, David? You let Avner just come and go? He's spying on you. He just came to see where you're coming in, where you're going out. He wants to know what's the story. So you should not have let him go. And he's like, no, that was not a good idea. But David is like, no, it was a good idea. Then Yoav ben Tzeruya goes and does something without anyone's knowledge or permission. And he walks after Avner and he's like, oh, come back. David wants to talk to you or whatever. Come back. And he says, come, let's have a conversation. Avner takes, Yoav ben Tzeruya, the brother of Asael and the brother of Yoav, Avner. I'm forgetting for a second the third brother, Yoav, Avner, and I'm forgetting. So Yoav takes Avner ben Ner. He says, let's go into the side. They go into the dark corner. And Yoav quickly pulls out his sword and kills Avner ben Ner, the head of the army of Shaul. He murders him right there. It says he did it because of Asael, his brother, being murdered. David listens to this and he's like, wait, now all the people of Israel are going to say, oh, David killed someone who was trying to unite the kingdom. So David has to make it very clear that he had nothing to do with the idea to kill Avner. So David is like, oh my goodness, I can't believe you did this. And he says, I curse Yoav, and may he and his family all be poor and lepers and only bad things because he killed an innocent man for nothing. And Yoav and now I see the other name, Yoav and Avishai. Yoav and Avishai killed Avner for killing their brother Asael, and David actually declares a national day of mourning for someone who's from the enemy side. So everybody now knows that David has no interest in having Avner killed. And in fact, David laments and gives sort of a public eulogy for Avner, to make sure it's very clear he thought that the act of killing Avner was unacceptable, reprehensible, and should not have been done. And that's how everyone knows that the act of killing Avner ben Ner had nothing to do with David. And he's like, oh, he was a great man. I'm sorry for his loss. And these sons of Tzuya, Avner, and Avishai are tough, and it's not my fault. And that is chapter 3. So what did we have here? To make a long story short, we have David living in Beit Lechem and having 6 children from 6 different women. We then have Shaul's army getting weaker and weaker, while David getting stronger and stronger. Then we have the son of Shaul, Ishboshet, make the critical mistake of insulting an employee that's much stronger than him. He insults Avner ben Ner, and he's like, have you been hanging out with Ritzpah bat Ayah, the Pileyesh of my father Shaul? And Avner is livid. He says, you know what? I'm holding this whole thing together, and you're telling me this? I'm going to go bring David and make him stronger and give him the whole kingdom of Israel. And in fact, he does exactly that. He sends messages to David to come meet with him. He sends messages to all of Ziknei Israel saying, let's go become part of David's kingdom. And David says, look, make sure if you come here, I want Michal, the daughter of Shaul, who was taken away from me. And he also sends that as a formal request to Ishboshet. Finally, Avner goes to Hebron to visit David. Avishai hears that Avner is in town, and he remembers that Avner killed his own brother Asael. And after Avner leaves David, then Avishai goes after him, kills him, and David is like, that's disgusting, repulsive, I didn't have this idea. He curses Yoav, and he curses the children of Tzuya, even though Yoav is his head of army, and he announces a national day of mourning. And that is it, this chapter. A bunch of names to remember, to make your life easy. Just remember Yoav, the head of David's army, Asael, the brother of Yoav, Avishai, the brother of Asael and Yoav. So you have Avishai, Asael, and Yoav are siblings, the sons of Tzuya. Then you have Avner ben Ner, the head of the army of Shaul's side, and the Shaul side king is Ishboshet, the son of Shaul. And those are the main names you need to remember. If you want to add a few more, you can also remember Ritzpah bat Ayah, who is the Pileyesh of Shaul, that the insult about her started this whole story. And that is it. I hope you enjoyed.